snacks.
What it do, snackers and snackers? It's your boy Gage, and it is time for another unpopular opinion. Because I'm standing here, that means that unpopular opinion happens to be mine. And before we get into it, we got to do the litmus test. What that means is these guys are going to shoot me a bunch of questions. They're yes or no, or I have to pick one or the other. And this is just a way to gauge whether or not we're kind of seeing eye to eye about things. So as you're a person who's listening or watching this, you kind of answer along with me and just see if normally we line up, and then we'll find out whether or not this unpopular opinion of mine is one that you all share or don't or what have you. Let's begin the litmus test. Sin.
Yes, sir.
What do we got?
Spaghetti or lasagna?
Spaghetti.
Tea or coffee?
Tea.
Ritz or Townhouse?
Ritz.
Chucks or Tim's?
Tim's. All day.
Capes or no capes?
No capes. Spider-Man got a cape? No cape.
Okay, so that's five.
Does that sound good? Let's do one more. What else you got?
Terminators or the Borg?
What?
Terminators or the Borgs?
Terminators. Terminators over the board. Alright. So here's the deal.
How close were you with him, Joe?
You was semi, you was half and half with me?
Yeah, half and half, okay.
So with Spider-Man Far From Home being in theaters now, I thought this was a good time to address this particular thing. Which is, while I like Tom Holland as Spider-Man, and I think he's great casting, it's my personal and usually unpopular opinion that Toby Maguire was the perfect Peter Parker and therefore the perfect Spider-Man. Now, I stand by this. You guys don't look surprised. You probably heard this from me before. That's what I'm thinking, you guys. So let me throw a little bit of a coating on this vehicle as we move through. I, like most people, when I learned of the casting of Toby Maguire originally for Spider-Man, I was like, nah, dog. No, sir. Absolutely not. However, as the first film winds up, like as you get into the origin, the bite, the terrible crying. Toby Maguire's a terrible crier. Like, we're not gonna argue about that. What became obvious to me is that Toby Maguire is exactly the person who you would meet in the streets and say, this dude cannot possibly be Spider-Man. Because Spider-Man's cool. Spider-Man's dope. He's athletic. He can move. And Toby Maguire was the perfect Peter Parker because Peter Parker in the comic books was nothing like Spider-Man. When he put the mask on and had the suit on, the quips were there because he was that smart, he was that fast up here, but he wasn't that person when he was live and walking around. He was fumbling, bumbling, didn't speak well, bad with the ladies, all of the things that, like, when you think about the performance of Toby Maguire, when you think about Toby Maguire being a superhero, period, like, right now I challenge you to Google Toby Maguire and find pictures of him that are not of him in Spider-Man and go, that looks like our next big superhero. I dare you. But that's the entire point. Toby Maguire was a great Spider-Man because he was the perfect Peter Parker. He was the person who could live next door to Mary Jane Watson and she would never, ever, ever suspect that he could possibly be Spider-Man because that's ew. Because ew. There's no way. There's no way. And that made him perfect for the role. So I think Toby Maguire was the perfect Peter Parker and therefore was a perfect Spider-Man. I still love you, Tom. I'm not saying he was better than you, because Tom's pretty dope. Please don't come at me in the comments talking about how dope Tom Holland is. Tom Holland was a seed when this movie happened. So we're not going there. I'm just saying, in terms of casting at the time, like, try not to think about the third Spider-Man film from that trilogy. And even that wasn't, don't snickers, that wasn't even his fault. As a matter of fact, on some unpopular opinion, that movie's not actually that bad. Though, I hated that Eddie Brock. The Venom wasn't that bad, but I hated that Eddie Brock. And that goes without saying. That just is what it is. Anyway, you can let me know in the comments how you feel about it. If you disagree, chances are you're wrong. I feel like I've stated my case fairly well. Would you say?
I think so.
Okay. Okay. Well, y'all let me know how y'all feel about it. Till then, toodles and loops. What it do, snackers and snackettes? Did you like what you just saw? Would you like to help us grow? Here's what you can do. Shoot over to patreon.com/loading snacks. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe on your favorite platform of choice. Appreciate you.